Mhm. All right, we are recording now. We are live. Thank you so much for doing this. It means the world to me. I truly appreciate it. And before we get started, I want to tell you how I found out about you.
Okay.
I'm born and raised Southside Chicago, and I was home for Christmas for the holidays, just at my mom's house relaxing. And I saw her one day, and she was watching the Trap Queen show.
Okay.
And I didn't I was like, "What are you watching, Mom?" And and then I walked away, so I didn't watch it with her. But then when she went to work the next day, I was bored. I was like on a smart TV. I was like, "All right, let me see what Trap Queens is about." And I watched the whole first season in
Wow.
one sitting, but yours just stood out to me. I
Wow.
think it was just your personality. It's all about the thugs. It's all about the thugs. It was hilarious to me. So after I was inspired, and after I watched your episode, I did some research on you, and I think it was so cool. So thank you so much for doing this, and
No problem.
I feel like so many people know who Jamila T Davis is, but so many more people that should know who you are. So for those who don't know, who is Jamila T Davis?
So I'm an author, I'm a motivational speaker, now a television personality. And more importantly, I'm a mom, right, who spent a decade in federal prison for bank fraud. And I'm back with a vengeance, back to redeem myself, to, retie the bonds or rekindle the bonds with my children, and just kind of like be the woman that God created me to be.
Okay.
So that's pretty much me.
Okay. And so would you say your time in prison, is that what sparked, because you're also an advocate,
Yes,
for,
activist, definitely.
yes, for people that are incarcerated, especially women, you ride hard for the ladies. So would you say your experience serving time in prison, is that what sparked that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I feel as though God allowed me to go through the circumstances that I went through to give me an awakening about what's important and what's not. You see, I was a multimillionaire at the age of 25. I did a lot of things very, very quickly. And I don't think I really appreciated life and freedom and the things that I had. It wasn't until it got taken away from me. And I was surrounded by so many women that were just like me. So let me just break that down. Like, a lot of people look at incarcerated women and they just think that we like the worst, and why. They don't understand. Many of us had some kind of trauma or some kind of life issues that led us down that path. So being around individuals that was like myself made me realize that I wasn't in this thing alone. And it also sparked the urge for me to want to be an advocate to help those that were formerly incarcerated, and those that just need to really be awakening to the truth. And the truth is, like what I said, what really matters and really what doesn't in life. And I think a lot of us haven't been awakened to the truth. It's not until some kind of tragedy or some kind of real adversity happens in your life, and you really, really get to weigh it all and see a lot of the things that we chase and that we run after really don't count.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing it. And I'm thinking, because I know you were sentenced to 12 and a half years in prison, and I believe you served 7 of those years,
No,
correct?
no, no. I served 9.
Okay,
I
I'm
wish I
sorry.
could have took them 2 back. I served 9 inside and 1 outside. So I
Oh,
basically did 10 years total on that 12 and a half year sentence.
okay, okay. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
And I'm thinking, and we know as African Americans how prison it was structured to break us specifically. We know mentally. We know that, as a people. So uh, what did you do to persevere throughout this sentence and keep your mind clear and realize that I'm not going to allow this to break me? I have, I'm going to start a new life, or I'm going to continue, what I started. Once I leave here, this won't be the end for me. How did you keep that positive mindset?
So it was really God. So it was a spiritual awakening. He's been calling me for quite some time, and I just was busy in my world doing my own thing, so I didn't answer the calling, right? So You know, when we're busy, we really can't hear the voice of God. It's not till we get still and quiet that we can really, really hear sometimes what he's been telling us all along. And when I was lonely in that cell, and I really cried out to him, because to be honest with you, when the judge said 12 and a half years, I didn't think that I could make it. I didn't think that I could survive a decade behind bars. And I realized that I was going to need the help of my higher power to get through this circumstance. And through that, I was able to embark on a journey that helped me to deal with a lot of the insecurities, right? So I kind of talked to you, I said trauma, but my trauma was dating an individual when I was 14 years old and giving him myself. And he ended up cheating with someone else. And that kind of spent my life out of control, because that particular person that he cheated with, she was an independent woman. Actually, she was a baker. And he said because she got her own money, he was going to be with her, right? And somebody may say, well, really, that happens all the time. But for a young girl that was 14 years old, who only saw what her parents showed her, which was life in a happy home, you know, 2-family home, everything was good, I thought that me and this individual would live that same type of life. So when that didn't happen, and when I didn't have an outlet to heal, only thing I could do was get consumed with the chase. So I wanted to be this independent money woman that got money, so that no man would ever leave me again, and so that I wouldn't feel less than anymore. So I used that drive to make money like it was nobody's business. And that's how I made millions of dollars, because I was chasing this thing to feel accepted, because I had that inner void. So behind bars, I was able to heal for the first time. I was able to find out what I like. I was chasing what everybody else liked for so many years. So I had that time out to really like deal with all of the inner demons, really facing my demons and really finding my truth. So that was the awakening, and that was the mindset shift. And when I got to really realize the things that I was chasing after could crumble like this, and if it was my last day on earth, those things wouldn't mean absolutely anything, it shifted me, and it shifted my focus and my mindset to think differently.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Such a powerful story. Your mother, I know that when you were going through your situation, I believe you promised your mother that you would get your college degree, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you want to talk to us about the degree?
Yes. It just so happens that I'm taping here, and here's two of the three. So,
Okay.
yes, I had for so long just been doing my own thing. I was making money. I wasn't going to school. I was like, forget school. I don't need that. So behind bars, with the help of my mother, I was able to get my associates, my bachelor's, my master's, and I'm currently working on my PhD. So again, when we goes back to things that are important and that are valued, I changed my value system, and that's what made me go back to school.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad you fulfilled that. I know your mother extremely happy, you know.
Yes.
Talk to us about you befriended a lot of women, you know, while you were incarcerated, and you guys formed, you know, alliance, a group, the Pink Panther Clique, right? Talk to me about them.
So, well, really, it all started when I was incarcerated with Lauryn Hill. She did 90 days for tax evasion, and she began to talk to me, and she was like, yo, your story is dope, but it would be so much better if you could grab some of the women and start sharing their stories and tell their stories. And I was like, okay, I didn't really think about that, but okay, let's do that. So I started like pretty much almost recruiting women who had similar stories, decade plus sentences for nonviolent crimes. And we started first Women Over Incarcerated, which is a nonprofit organization created to basically create awareness about the epidemic of women in prison and the lengthy sentences many of us face as first-time nonviolent offenders. I got friends serving life sentences as a first-time offender. It's crazy. For nonviolent crime. So we wanted to kind of create awareness about that. And then the Pink Panther Clique was formed when I was at Danbury. I had an idea to create a book. I used to have a record label called Pink Panther Records. So it was a spinoff from the record label. And I kind of united some girls from a couple of different prisons, because I went from Danbury to Alderson, and we started showing our stories and sharing our pictures. We did a lot of prison pictures that went viral. Stevie J, Jadakiss, Teresa Giudice, Monica, several celebrities started posting our pictures. They started going viral. So in my anticipation to come home, I had thousands of followers, you know, tens of thousands of followers waiting for me to come home. I'm just really grateful for that experience.
Okay. Your children. I'm proud of, I don't even know them, but I'm proud of them too. You know, I know your daughter is a recent graduate of North Carolina A&T State University, and your son, Georgia State University, right? So you, unfortunately, you know, due to experience, you missed 9 years of their lives. Explain to us how you know, even though you weren't there physically, you all still, you know, managed to have, you know, as close a relationship as possible. So tell us how you still managed that throughout that sentence.
I used entrepreneurship. So I knew my kids ain't really know me because they had been gone away from me so long. So I started working on projects with them, creating companies with them from behind bars, kind of teaching them what I knew. And that kind of treated their interest. And it's so funny because I do programs like that now with the youth. I find when you give kids a skill set and you teach them things that they didn't know, or teach them how to do things that give them self-worth. For instance, entrepreneurship and ownership, when you could become a young boss, a young CEO, it gives you a sense of pride and confidence. And more than anything, it makes you know that whatever you put your mind to, you can kind of do. So I started that with my kids from behind bars. And then I have great parents. So my parents also helped to rear them. And, you know, I just stayed in their life, stayed in touch, stayed finding out what they wanted to do. And even still to this day, my kids, we kind of work together in business. So it's a dope relationship that we have. Although I'm their mom, I guess I'm also like a sister and a friend as well. So we kind of talk about a lot of things and we're able to relate on a lot. And what I did most importantly, a lot of people come home after serving a decade and want to come back and be an enforcer in your kid's life. And you really can't do that. Like, especially when you've been going for a dime. So you got to respect them first, right? Love on them, respect them, and help them cultivate their dreams. Figure out what they want to do and how you can make your stamp or your mark in that. And that's kind of what we did together.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that, because I feel like a lot of times, I don't know, it's like a disconnect sometimes between parents and, you know, children. And, you know, children, no matter what their age is, you know, they deserve, you know, respect also. And like you said, especially, you know, with your situation and being away, the fact that you came back and you gradually, you know, you didn't force anything and you just let everything happen organically as you guys reconnected. You know, I think that's extremely awesome. You told us that you are an author.
Yes.
Of several books, right?
Yes.
So talk to us about your book collection. I want to know your favorite book, because I'm a writer also, so I know you probably got your favorite book. So
I started writing actually saved me, right? So I didn't even know I could write. So this is just talks about life. We'll be on our path, doing whatever we got to do to make money. And a lot of times we're not even tapped into the gift. Right? So I did real estate and that was something I could do and I was talented at it, but that wasn't my gift. So behind bars, when I had that lonely time, I found out my gift was the gift of writing. And writing was actually the thing that kept me going, and publishing books from behind bars. So my first set of books that I created was the Voices of Consequences Enrichment Series for incarcerated women. It's a 3-book self-help series to help incarcerated women heal, recognize their potential, and recapture their dreams. So that book I created while I was down my first 2-3 years. And that book, with the help of my mother, landed in prisons across the world. So women would write me letters while I was a prisoner, telling me how my book inspired them to become better. And that gave me inspiration actually to do my time. So I would say one of my faves is the Voices of Consequences Enrichment Series, because that's the book that allowed me the ability to see that I can write. And then I guess my second favorite book would be She's All Caught Up, which is my memoir that's about my life growing up, my early childhood. So I wrote that book for teenagers who are at the stage where they want to rebel against their mother like I did. And I kind of, instead of speaking down to them, I speak at them so that they could kind of see things from the lens of how their parents may see it, but not being told that they got to see it from this way, but have the choice, right, to take a look at the whole picture and then decide which route that they would choose. So that's that book. And I've written over a dozen books since incarcerated. So quite a few different series to enlighten people, to kind of inspire people, and to pick folks up.
Okay, tell the people where they can find your books.
Yes, Amazon.com. Put my name in the search engine. That's Jamila, Jamila T Davis. You put my name in on Amazon and all my books will come out.
Okay. And not only are you an advocate for incarcerated women, you also do a lot of work in partnership, I believe, with New York Public Schools. Am I right?
Yes,
Okay.
kids, at-risk kids is everything to me because I was an at-risk kid. Remember I told you it was that 14-year-old heartbreak that really spiraled me out of control, and I couldn't speak to my mother. I couldn't tell my mother about my pain. So I want to speak to kids, and like I'm non-judgmental. I just talk to them from my heart, and they tend to relate and like it. And I don't tell the kids what to do. I just give them choices, and I explain to them, listen, here's your choice. You could take choice A. This is what happens with choice A. Here's B. Now let me tell you the full picture about B. Now look at C. Now these are the things, these are the consequences that go with C, right? Now if you choose A and B, this is what you could get. But if you choose C, you might end up here. And then you leave it at that. And you let them make the final choice on what they want to do.
Right. Okay. That's another thing when we brought up school that made me realize how I feel like I connected with you just from watching your show, because you did your first year of undergraduate at St. Augustine University in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yes.
And that's currently where I reside. I'm a school teacher here in Wake County Public Schools.
Okay.
You know, everything about the story, I was like, man, you know.
Oh, you have to read. She was all caught up because the first time I got in trouble was actually at Wake County. I did some time at Wake County Jail, and I want to say, what was that? 1995. Yes. So I'm very familiar with Raleigh. Went down there, turned all the way up, you know.
Yeah. Freshman year college is always a little.
And I graduated high school in 2.5 years instead of 4. So I was 17 years old going to that school, and it was just like showtime, baby.
Yeah.
So it you know, show down the street, this happening over here. So it was turn up time. And if you read the book, you'll see what happened. But I definitely ran into some troubles down there too. But I'm very, very familiar with Raleigh. And I didn't know that you was a school teacher. So that's dope too.
Yeah, I'm a 4th grade school teacher.
Oh, that's so
talk nice. About the book, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe get a signed copy or something.
Yes, you know? Yes, I could do that for you.
We're going to have to work that out.
Yes.
Let's go back to activism for a moment. Tell me your thoughts. How are you feeling about the Ahmaud Arbery case and the death of Breonna Taylor? What are your thoughts?
The thing is, this has been happening all the time, right? But people don't understand, through the power of social media, life has completely changed for us, because things that used to get swept under the rug can't get swept under the rug anymore. Right. Certain people post a post, even that. You see, it was several months before they even contemplated an arrest. Like, and if we didn't see it and didn't demand justice, it would, I believe, it still would have gotten swept under the rug, as so many things that have happened in the past. So I'm actually grateful, not grateful that these things happened to this sister and this brother, but just to know that we're going to keep their legacy alive. And we are at the point where we're saying enough is enough. We're not going to keep doing this with y'all. Y'all going to have to treat us right. And I think it comes a point where you command and you demand respect that you eventually get it. Like this week, Monday, we actually had protested in New York City about, like, now with the social distancing, they've been arresting folks for not having on their masks and out in the streets. And I mean, treating folks real bad. And we've been able to see it because of social media. So we actually protested because we're like, enough is enough. You're not going to treat the white folks good and then come in our neighborhoods and then go crazy because folks is outside not doing what they have to do. I'm not saying that you don't do your job and you don't make people respect the rules, but to treat people harshly and just throw them on the floor and treat them like dogs about a mask, that's just too much. Right. So what happened was we did that on Monday, and by Friday, the mayor made an announcement that New York City police will no longer be able to arrest people for not following the social distancing and not being able to give them summonses as well, because we found there was a large disparity amongst the summons that Black folks were getting compared to white. So that's a good thing. So I share that to say activism does work. Standing up for your rights does in fact work.
Okay, and I just want to thank you, you know, for everything, you know, your team, everything that you guys do, you know, to make America, you know, we know it's unequal, but we need activists. We need people that is going to continue, you know, fighting, you know, on our behalf, because some people don't have the courage. You know, some people want to, but they don't have that courage to go out there, you know, and do whatever it takes. So I appreciate, you know, we appreciate what you do. And before we end, I just want to know, what would you say for someone who's currently incarcerated right now, who's depressed, who's feeling that this is the end? They have no plans for upon their release, or they feel bleak, unhopeful. They have no hope for their future. What would you say to that person?
I would tell a person, look up, and understand that jails sometimes is God's hospital. It's the place where you can really, really, really get in tune with your higher power and figure out what's important. Sometimes it takes hard hits for us to realize that the people that we love and trusted and would give everything for really are not even there for us, right? Take a look at your surroundings. Take a look at who's really there and start regrouping and remapping a plan that will work for you upon your release. Get caught up reading. There's so many books to read. Those books will lift up your spirit and allow those books to also help you plan out the next steps. I want you to get out your pen. I want you to get out your pad, and I want you to write daily. I want you to write without any permission, meaning do what you need to do. Go back to that place that you was when you was a little girl, a little boy, and put down on paper all those hopes, all those dreams. And I want you to start setting goals daily. Find out something that you can do each day to get you closer to the goal. Take a look at my life. You see me, I'm no different than you. I was able to overcome adversity, so you could do the same. Keep your head up and know that you're going to come out of this situation stronger, wiser, and better.
Wow. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, doing this exclusive for the Carolinian newspaper. And before we end, give everybody your social media handle so they can follow you.
Yes, make sure you follow me at Jamila T Davis on Instagram and Twitter. That's at JAMILA T Davis, TAVIS. And on Facebook, I'm at author Jamila T Davis. Follow me.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Davis, and stay safe. Hopefully quarantine be over soon.
Yes.
And, you be blessed.
No problem. Thank you so much for this. And just let me know when it comes out.
Okay, thank you.
All right. God bless. Bye-bye.